Well, golly, welcome back to the show. What the hell's happening with you, Tony? Oh, dang good.
Well, unlike you, I've got all of my teeth.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. I guess I deserve that after all the ribbing I have done on you.
Yeah.
When my teeth decide to just fall out of my mouth.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's Hey Watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
And I'm Tony.
And we're starting up a new month, the month of January, where we're doing Schlockbusters. These are movies that they spent lots of money on, and they expected to be these tentpole franchises that would just do movie after movie after movie, but instead they didn't do that, and sometimes failed miserably in the box office because no one wanted to see them because people make decisions based on a bunch of things. So this week is Tony's pick, R.I.P.D.
We're starting it off strong.
Yeah, this one, I think this one is, very quintessential in the Schlockbuster category. I think it perfectly hits on all notes. 2013, Universal.
I just want everyone to take a second, take a beat, and maybe rewind 10 seconds and listen to Dan compliment my movie choice, because that has never happened in the history of this podcast and may never happen again. So I want to live in that for just a moment, that Dan likes my choice.
I actually really like this choice. I think this is a really good choice because it's not a good movie, but I think it says a lot about how movies work. Essentially, I was reading this thing where a guy was complaining about representation in movies. And he's like talking about representation in all the animated movies. And he's like, then right at the 30 mark, the main character gets turned into a frog, and then they spend the next hour as a frog. And then they, so they spend very little time as the person of color. Instead, they spend it as a frog or an ooze or a pigeon or whatever. And it's like, that's how these movies are, man. Everything is by the numbers, 30-minute mark. You're into the second act, 15 minutes to go. You are finishing your third act, and that's all you get. Goodbye. See you later. You're done.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, these by the numbers movies like this one, if the numbers aren't right, it's just you go, oh. Yeah,
that's the problem, because I don't mind, a very formulaic film. I love a lot of those. It's just, you have to be interesting on any level or fun.
I'm going to posit that there's a bunch of other, even more subtle problems with this movie that make it not, because your two leads are
Ryan Reynolds, Jeff Bridges.
And this was like right before Ryan Reynolds blew up, right?
Yeah, I'm so thankful that he still did, because I feel like, these things can kind of derail somebody. Look at, Taylor Kitsch, who did, John Mars? What is it called?
What, do you mean the werewolf?
John Carpenter of Mars.
Which very close to being chosen for this month.
Interesting, because I actually really liked that movie.
Go watch it again.
I didn't really like it. I thought it was a fine movie. I think that it was trashed unnecessarily, because it's fine. I don't think it's as bad as this movie. I think it's at least is interesting. Okay, maybe I'll just choose that movie next time.
And we have, especially from sort of 2005 to now, we have a lot of these movies where they're really they're try hard movies, and they this one based on a comic book, and okay, we hour and 36 minutes plus a lot of credits. This movie is
a lot of credits.
Tight to the bone.
I was like, hey, I wonder, this is right after like Avengers, so I wonder if there's a clip at the end of the credits. And I was just like scrolling. It was like 12 minutes of credits. I was like, that many people. And I don't want to belittle anyone's work, but it took a lot of people to make a really subpar movie.
And and there's a lot of CGI of the monster people, and the reviewers and the general populace reviewers just were not happy with that aspect of it either.
Because it looked cartoonish,
Yep.
which didn't really fit with the vibe of the movie, with the vibe as if it had a vibe. But like they couldn't decide if they were like a kids action movie, an adult action movie, an action comedy, sci-fi. Like it just couldn't fit into its own mold.
Yeah, well, that's because it was stolen from many other molds.
Yeah,
very specifically.
Much better molds. I mean, great molds. Let's be honest.
And I mean, you think about Men in Black, which this movie is a cookie cutter.
I thought about it constantly.
And Men in Black is great. You go back and you watch it, and man, Will Smith is very funny. Tommy Lee Jones' character is very interesting and actually sort of holds up through multiple movies.
For sure.
And a lot of the jokes play out really well, and they have a lot of things that get you there, right? Doesn't he go through a whole training thing with like 6 other guys right at the beginning?
Which is awesome. Great. It's a great scene. Yeah. I mean, that Men in Black to me is like a perfect blockbuster. So
yes,
there's that.
And I mean, you think back, you had the weird aliens that said funny things. You had the pawnbroker. There's like so many things you can go back to and remember and go, oh, these things I enjoyed.
And the pawnbroker is a great example because they have that character in this movie, and he's garbage.
Wait, what was
just totally missed the mark?
What did they do for the pawnbroker?
So I mean, pawnbroker is in quotes, but it's a similar storyline where they go to an informant.
Oh.
And that informant isn't funny or interesting, and the scene is stupid. And I was like, wow. I mean, you understood that the beat needed to be there, but you just didn't care to deliver on any level. But you know what? Let's start from the beginning. We'll go to the top.
So we start with one of these classic, where we're in the future, and then he's talking about the past, and so we have we start with a big action scene because they want to start putting, what they consider to be one of their big action scenes. They want to make you feel like you're in it. And one of the interesting things is that he says, this is 3 to 4 days in the future. It's 3 to 4 days. It's not like 3 days ago things started. It's like it happened a while ago.
Yep.
So talk about this big scene that they start with.
First of all, stop calling it a big scene because it's so flat. Nothing even happens in it. Nothing exciting, nothing fun. I don't learn anything about the characters that make me excited. And we have like this very deadpan Ryan Reynolds voiceover, which just makes me wish that he was Deadpool, which is unfair because Deadpool's not out yet. I understand. But he can be so funny, and you hire Ryan Reynolds to play the straight man is crazy to me.
Oh, I see.
And maybe is this after the Green Ring? What's that? Green Lantern? I didn't even look.
I don't know.
I just don't understand in any world why you would hire Ryan Reynolds to be a straight man in like a buddy cop movie. First of all, why aren't they both interesting and fun?
He's completely he's just like, I wish I could go back to my wife that I have sex with at the beginning of the movie. That's like
100%.
This was good sex. I wish I was back there.
Throughout the whole movie, he acts and looks like I feel, which is just like, let's get the fuck through this. I just need this to wrap up so I can collect a paycheck and move on. He's so flat. And so this intro scene is what solidifies that for me. His voiceover is dull. He's like, 3 days ago, stuff started to happen. Oh, and monsters, I'm dead. So let's start the movie. It's so dumb.
They're chasing this big obese guy, and as we find out quickly, they're dead that somehow just decide to hang around and don't leave Earth. How or why they get to decide they don't want to do this, we have no idea.
Because it's weird because Ryan Reynolds gets sucked into the sky. He doesn't have a choice. He just starts floating. How do you choose not to go? I wanted to see someone choose not to go.
He would have very much chosen not to go. He would not have
gone. He definitely would have.
He would have done whatever it takes, probably turning evil. He would have done anything. Doesn't care.
That's an interesting movie that I would see.
Yep.
Fighting to keep his humanity as the evil. I don't know. Anyhow, if you didn't know this was a comic book movie, you would in this opening sequence as they do those stupid comic book flashes where normally you would put like a clever name.
Yeah.
Like it's like, bam, Ryan Reynolds, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But it's just colors. They just do like freeze frame with colors. Comic book. Comic book.
So we cut back to 3 to 4 days earlier. They're chasing this big fat guy who's one of the dead people. And, there's the other kind of key point is to make the dead people go to heaven or go where they have to go. You shoot them in the head.
Yeah, you kill them a second time. And apparently, the second time, they don't have a choice. Fool me once, shame on you.
And at times, the two of them are the greatest shots in the world. And at other times, they're the worst shots in the world. So sometimes they're just like, ether. Boom, dead. Sometimes they're like, boom, miss, boom, miss, boom, miss, boom, miss, boom, miss, because this chase has to continue.
Yeah. Oh, does it? Does it have to? I feel like it doesn't. Also, my question, I didn't know this question until you just brought it up again now. His monster form is obesity. Now, it seems like throughout the movie, other people's monster forms kind of take on the way they died, right? And just exemplify or exaggerate them. So I just assume he died of like a heart attack and was like, nah, I want more Burger King. I'm going to stay on Earth, and then turn to evil.
Well, he was was the redheaded Elvis guy, right? It's that guy.
Yeah. Why is he even Fat Elvis? I don't understand. Yeah. I don't get the joke, but that's fine.
And it sure seems like his hair should have been more Elvis-y when he became the monster thing.
Yep.
It's just, you don't know you don't have any answer to any of these questions. And he has all sorts of powers. He can walk up walls and run and jump and fast and do. So it's just, once again, and this is one of the primary problems with the movie is there's no rules. There
are 0 rules. And then when they make a rule, they contradict it in the next scene, basically. They're just like, oh, we'll pretend it's a rule for now, but later it won't be. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Spoilers. So Ryan Reynolds so we flash back to the past. Ryan Reynolds has a bunch of gold, like hunks of gold, which he's like, I will hide these in the yard by burying them under an orange tree that I bought for my beautiful wife.
So I have a question. Why would you pick an orange tree in Boston? It's not even going to make it. It's going to die in the winter. And then you have to dig it up and plant a new one the next year. You're going to find the gold. It's a terrible hiding place.
It's also an orange tree with giant oranges on it.
Oranges. He just transplanted a tree from somewhere else, and it's dead already, basically.
Typically, when you get a fruit tree, it doesn't come with the automatic fruits. Those fruits
sometimes it takes like years to get a fruit-bearing tree. I had an orange tree. Now, this is a personal story. I had an orange tree 5 years ago we had a balcony, so I put an orange tree out there, and I had it for 2 years, and it never bore fruit. It bloomed a couple times, never bore fruit, and then we set it on fire. Not on the patio, but we used it for a bonfire. I gave up on it.
To spite the poor tree? You were like,
you're damn right, Dan. If you're not going to give me fruit, you're dead. You are dead. You serve no use to me.
Tonight you die. Okay, so he buries this gold, which was some divvy up from something that they did. They did something, and him and his partner decided to steal the gold.
Because they weren't looking for the gold. They just found the gold.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. If you're a cop, don't worry about it.
So he's in the morning. He's got this hot French wife, and she's all over him. And we also realized that the tree was for her. She wanted a tree
because she loves orange trees. Maybe that's a French thing.
So then we meet his partner, who is Kevin Bacon, doing this kind of weird Boston accent.
But at least he's trying. They're all in Boston, and nobody else does a Boston accent. It's just Kevin Bacon. I mean, at that point, you got to be like, Kevin, no one else is doing it. Just drop it. But it's Kevin Bacon. You can't tell him what to do.
He does kind of drop it as the movie goes on. It's really harsh right at the beginning, and it's like, I'm Bostoning a little bit.
Maybe they shot sequentially, and halfway through he was like, is nobody else doing the accent? I gotta phase this out.
So they're like, Ryan Reynolds is like, I can't do this. I can't steal the gold. I'm out. You're like, huh? Okay, you're out.
I wonder how long he had the gold. Did we learn when they did the bust?
I think just that day. He had just brought that gold home, and as we will see,
just planted a tree. Yeah,
as we will see with that gold, him having that gold makes no sense.
No,
because we may as well spoil this now. Kevin Bacon's the bad guy.
Yeah.
His whole thing is to collect the gold. Why would he have given Ryan Reynolds some of his gold that he needs to collect?
I guess, and now if I'm just trying to get in the mind of a criminal, I would give you some in hopes that you won't turn me in. Because if I'm the only one to take it, I might think that you're going to turn me in. So I'm going to give you some. So we're on the same team. We're both bad guys now. We're on, we're doing dirty things together. It strengthens. I don't know, Dan.
But Kevin's going to have to take that gold back within 3 to 4 days. It's not like.
Yeah, almost immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah. It's very strange.
And it's not like he's giving it to him to hide it. No, he's giving him some of it.
He's giving it to you.
Tie him into him. But he's not really tied into him because he's the mastermind of all the dead people. So he doesn't.
Not at all.
He cares 0%. Why doesn't he just shoot him in the head right there? Because he, spoilers, kills him later.
Not much later, so it's not a huge spoiler.
So you basically invalidated your whole movie with your whole first setup.
And also, just moving back to where he kills him, I hate the fact that we know there's not really a big mystery to the movie. I would love to not know who killed him, and then part of the movie is about him figuring out who killed him.
Well,
not so much the why, but it's a whole whodunit.
Well, I don't know. More importantly, his character could have just gone when he comes back to life as a ghost or whatever he is. He could have just gone over there and pulled out his gun and shot Kevin Bacon's character in the head.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Why? He's not a police officer anymore.
Nope. Well, kind of.
But he's not, because he doesn't have any rules. They don't. And another thing,
true.
They become like the R.I.P.D. No rules. No.
In fact,
no, you must be secret. No, you must not kill people. No, there's no rules. Literally
the only rule
rules.
that I could figure out, Dan, is that they brought it up a little bit later, is you just can't let them escape. You either bring them in alive or dead, but you can't they were the Weeds lady was super mad that they let the monster run away. And they were like, the first time in 20 years that anyone's ever gotten away. And it's like, so you have to kill them. If they're running, you kill them. Otherwise bring them in alive. If you can. Why? It's really not that important.
Once again, why bring them in alive at all?
Just eliminate them. Who cares? I don't know.
Because they're not going to heaven, so heaven doesn't care. Heaven's like, send them to hell. We're done. So it's just a lot of stupidity. So they're there. I'm out. This was supposed to be fast. We're supposed to be done with this one by now.
Sorry. I didn't get the memo, Dan.
Not even through a page. So we know where Garza is. He's got 30 men. He's a meth dealer. He's a cop killer. You're just like, what the fuck?
Is he? I don't know. I don't know any of these things.
I don't even know do we even see him?
No,
we kind of.
If I'm being honest,
go
because I don't have any.
We sort of do see him.
Interesting, because if I'm being honest, I thought Kevin Bacon was going to be Garza. Well, I thought that it was one of those double identity things, and then that never came back, and I was like, I don't know. I must have missed something.
When Ryan Reynolds gets in the building, he looks over and he's like, Garza, and this one guy's running up the stairs.
Got it.
So
great stuff.
They're coming, and there's the old locked fence, and he has this brand new. Kevin Bacon's driving this brand new Charger or something. This thing is untouched by human hands. And he blasts through those gates. They explode.
Got it.
Car continues to be untouched.
Unscathed.
By anything.
It's beautiful. I gotta get whatever kind of wax he's using after he washes that baby. I need that.
And so then once they get in there, they just start killing people. Literally, it's just killing.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many murders in this movie. It's a little scary.
Makes you wonder about Boston, you know?
Is that, you think that's what it is? It's the Boston.
They're making a point about Boston. The cops just kill.
Just don't go to Boston, guys. It's very dangerous. That's what I learned from R.I.P.D.
The cops we kill. What do you want?
You're better than Bacon. Don't worry.
So boom, boom, boom. He runs up chasing Garza. Kevin Bacon shows up, and Kevin Bacon kills him.
Yeah. I can't let you turn in that gold. Pow! It's like, okay.
Kevin Bacon could have just skipped this thing, gone over to his house, picked up the gold, and wouldn't have mattered.
And then end of story.
Oh, gold's missing.
Okay. I guess we just move on with our lives.
And more importantly, he's like, I'm not going to turn you in. I'm not going to do it. I guess he was going to turn in the gold, but he wasn't going to turn in Kevin Bacon.
Turn in Kevin. Yeah, he was like, you do you. I just can't do it with my conscience or something.
So it's like it's like you stole a bunch of cocaine, and then you're like, come back to the police, and you're like, oh yeah, I better turn this in. I was thinking about keeping it, but here it is.
Right.
To turn it.
But if anyone else that took some, you can keep it. I won't tell. I'm the only one that took it. That's a bad. First of all, you're going to get yourself fired because you're the only person that took bad things. Bad move. Now let's get back to this murder scene. There's two things I want to say. The first thing is, throughout the rest of the movie, 6-7 times maybe, Ryan Reynolds references the fact that Kevin Bacon shot him in the face.
Didn't he shoot him right in the gut?
Right in the stomach area. We see it, and I know that because we literally watch it happen. The whole death scene, he gets shot, he falls very slowly, and then he like kind of bounces on the ground like a rubber band. He never gets shot in the head, but they bring it up so many times, and I was so infuriated by that. I was like, then just don't show me him getting shot. Let it be a mystery.
It's like in 50 Shades where they like take the picture and then they put it in the newspaper. It's not the right picture. Just Tony.
Like
Tony
4 minutes later, it's a totally different picture, and I am very upset.
That is not the dress she was wearing.
They didn't take it. I'm sorry. That picture was taken on a different day of shooting, and they forgot what the scene was like. Bullshit.
So he wakes up. Time has stopped. He's like, what's going on? And then he gets sucked up into big clouds. Yeah. I like that part. That part I thought was good looking.
The whole scene, like the time being frozen, him walking through it, all of that was pretty cool.
It's good looking.
But that's about it.
So then he appears, boom, inside an office. And then we're gonna do the R.I.P.D. office, which is exactly the same as the Men in Black office. Like,
I forgot to look this up now. The office, like the set, is the exact same, but also the music they play whenever they're in the office, I think is the same score. I mean, I'm sure it's not, but every time they play it, I was like, this is the Men in Black music. I'm almost positive. I should look it up and do a side-by-side comparison.
So there he is with Mary Louise Parker drinking a Fresca. She's like super hot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just like, okay.
Cool. Way to go, Jeff Bridges.
Make the move. Yeah. She had sex with him. No.
Again, something they talk about over and over, but it never makes any sense in the movie. And I never get the feeling that they actually did it until the very end. Throughout the whole movie, I was like, is he just sexually harassing her? And that's this supposed to be funny? I don't know. Very strange.
But she's wearing like these white leather boots, and she's just got a whole thing going on, and you're like, she's drinking.
Sign me up for the R.I.P.D. I'll take one of those shields on my chest right now.
Oh God! So they only play Steely Dan in the rooms. I don't know.
Great joke. Really got me rolling on the floor. Really
so they're leaving her office to go to the main office, and then there's this big giant file room that they just can walk across the air, and you're like, why?
Not only that, Dan, but then there's a guy going through the files, and he's on a large ladder. Why does he need a ladder if you can just walk on air in there? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't
make any sense.
Why don't you just make a floor and just make it go forever up?
Yep.
That makes sense, but instead we have this whole bit where he's all like, whoa, I'm going to fall. And, she's like, don't be a fraidy cat, just come out here. And you're like, huh?
What? Why? That doesn't even come back later.
No.
Like, if he was on a rooftop later and chasing a perp, and he's like, you know what? I can walk on air. I remember now. And then, runs in through the building. I don't know.
So we come out there and we're on the big floor, and then somebody gets loose and starts running away, and then Jeff Bridges' character just shoots him, and then they're like, internal affairs, and here's your new partner. It's just your classic, here's your new partner, I work alone, I kill who I want to kill, and I don't care about the consequences. And then he starts calling him rookie, and then lets him come with him anyways.
Yeah, so a couple things I need to talk about because they deeply, deeply upset me. First of all, when Weed's lady, what's her name? Mary Louise Parker. She's explaining what the bad guys are.
Deados.
And she's like, they're people. Yeah, the Deados. Stupid name. First of all, not in the comics, by the way. So
really?
At the end of this, I read the comics last night because I was like, there's no way the comics are this bad. So we'll do a little comparison.
Good.
But she explains that these rotten souls are the cause of a lot of bad things on Earth, such as global warming. What does that mean? How's that a thing? Why even bring that up? What a weird thing to say and not back it up at all. It's just like, they cause bad things. Global warming, for one. No, they don't. Humans do that. Don't belittle global warming in this movie, you idiots.
And a lot of our livestock, too.
Sure. The cows and whatnot. And then the second thing is Jeff Bridges kills this dude, and they're all upset. And then he goes, don't get mad at me because I'm the only one who feels like they can lethal up. As if, like,
doesn't everybody sort of leave? No.
First of all, that's their job, from my understanding. And second of all, it's just saying, like, yeah, we shoot people and nobody cares. That's the kind of cops we are. Let's kill everybody. No questions asked. And I was like, oh boy, these are not good people.
And I mean, I don't like to rain on the police because the police do a hard job. But if the police existed in a world where there were dead monsters around, those police would be shooting them as constantly as possible.
All the time.
If I was a cop and I was allowed to shoot dead things like zombies, I would be shooting them all of the time, and it would be bad because you would accidentally shoot people all the time.
Yeah, because they look pretty similar sometimes.
And we don't make a distinction that these bullets only work on the deados. There's never anything like that.
Yeah. That's a good point. So
they travel via toilet, or do they? I thought they were going to go down the toilet or something, or do they just go into a bathroom?
Yeah. I do remember there being a toilet and there being a flush.
Isn't there some other movie where people, like in Harry Potter, do they travel by toilet?
Yeah, you travel. There's a couple of Harry Potter things in here. I don't know if you noticed, but when you kill a deado with your magic bullets, they turn into like a swirling black smoke, which is almost the exact same effect that Harry Potter uses for when wizards apparate.
Yeah, it is.
It's almost identical. And I was like, which one came first? Because this is pretty much a ripoff.
They were just like, can we borrow your code for that disappearing? So then of course they take him to his funeral. Jeff Bridges takes him to his funeral, which seems super weird.
Feels like a bad choice.
And then we start with the jokes about Jeff Bridges dying and how there were coyotes ate his bones.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot.
We do those jokes a lot of times. And then he tries to confront the wife. And then we get this whole thing where the universe scrambles your words so that you can't talk to them. Somehow the universe knows what you're trying to communicate. We'll scramble a piece of paper that you've written something on. If you whisper something in someone else's, who knows? Yeah. Somehow there's this whole thing to keep people from knowing.
But is there?
There is. They do scramble the words a little bit at some point.
But towards when he's on the running track with her,
yeah,
that's when they should have used that and made a point to be like, when they go to the old man that he is, he should have been like, and then it should go back to Ryan Reynolds being like, it's me. But instead they just go, it's me. And then she runs away. And I was like, I don't know if she heard it's me or if she heard gibberish and that's why she's weird. This movie,
So then we find out that in addition to everything, they do not appear as they did in life. They appear as these things. And so Jeff Bridges is a hot lady and Ryan Reynolds, well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Which is another
they tell
joke.
Us that.
Yes. And they hire sort of a 36-year-old attractive woman in a tight dress.
I'm not saying she's not attractive. Let me just be clear. Like, beautiful woman, but she's a little too old to be playing the jokes that they're saying. And then at one point, this guy like approaches him and is like, "Hey, I do music videos. Why don't you be in my music video?" And I was like, nope. That would never happen to someone over like 24. And I feel like a bad person saying that. I do. But that's the world that I live in right now. Hollywood.
And more importantly, this is a thing that you can actively change. Yeah. So wouldn't you want your cops to be like nondescript or like go together or...
Not at all. They want them to be the most out of place, weird coupling. So every time anyone enters the room, they're like, well, those people are not who they say they are because they're weird.
But then again, no one ever does that in this movie.
Not even once, because this movie doesn't make any sense.
So then once we see that he's in a hot girl body, we do this hot girl music.
And so this is a running joke in the movie, and it's not funny the first time, and it's not funny any time in between that and the last time. And I'm a guy that loves repetition, which we've talked about on this podcast. I like usually a long running joke that doesn't start funny can get me by the end, because if you just stick to your guns, a lot of times it works. This never worked. Never one time. It's so bad.
Never got there. So then they go to, who do they go to see? They go to see somebody. Oh, the informant? Is it the informant?
Is this the informant already?
No, it's not the informant. It's some other guy that they go to see for some reason, and then they torture him with Indian food. This is the guy they torture with Indian food, and then he transforms, and his arm tears off.
Yeah, because that's when we learn about this weird cumin thing. Is it the spices? Do they really ever tell us?
I don't know. It's like they don't like Indian food.
Yeah, I don't know. But this is the scene where we get to watch Jeff Bridges eat disgustingly, yes?
Yes, he eats disgustingly. Then there's also these cards where you talk about Indian food. And all of these things will elicit a reaction in a dead-o to transforming into
all stupid.
Their real form. So this is just more weird setup. And neither of us can figure out why. And I have to watch...
It's 2 minutes of Jeff Bridges like chewing with his mouth open, dropping food, talking while his mouth is full. It's disgusting. It's not funny. It's just gross. And why is this in your movie?
So there's a big fight, and Jeff Bridges loses his hat. And then this is going to, and they retrieve some gold. So the whole thing is he's lost his hat, which they kind of do jokes about. But they don't.
There's a couple.
They don't do like this continuous thing where he keeps on picking up random hats and wearing them and then being dissatisfied, which seems like it's what you wanted the joke to be. But
a way to use the running joke properly. Sure. Yeah.
So we go back to the office, and we put the gold into the vault, which is this big vault in the back of the place.
Yeah.
So they put it away, and then so Jeff Bridges is like, okay, I'm on this because something is going on. So we're going to look for this gold now. We're going to go see this informant who lives at the Red Sox.
Yes.
Stadium.
Well, because Ryan Reynolds does, that great speech where he's like, every good cop I know has a great informant. I'm in a play to your vanity, sir. Even though we don't really see Jeff Bridges have a ton of vanity, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all dumb.
So they go there, and then he says, yes, this gold is all for this talisman that's going to maybe do something sort of.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
And does he just like leave him a piece of the gold? Is that what he does? He accidentally leaves him a piece or something? Yeah.
Well, Reynolds takes it. He takes a piece, just like he did in Life.
But he leaves him a piece, doesn't he? Oh, no, he doesn't. Whatever.
Oh, with the informant. Yeah. No. He leaves the gold with the informant. Yes. And then Jeff Bridges is like, hey, that's supposed to be in evidence. And Ryan Reynolds is like, don't worry, I've got a plan because I'm a better cop than you are. And then the guy is like, oh, I better take this gold to my master. And then they follow him.
And it's Kevin Bacon. So Kevin Bacon takes the gold, throws it in the back. Then he goes to Ryan Reynolds' house, and he brings his wife cannoli, and then he digs up the tree and gets the rest of the gold. And they're watching through the bushes.
Yeah, through the bushes next door, just next door.
And then the two of them we have that sort of partner fight for a second.
Yeah.
Sort of. And then we go to the train station. Then they follow Kevin Bacon to the train station, and this is where Elvis the Fat Bastard is. And Elvis the Fat Bastard is getting the gold from Kevin Bacon's character. And then he transforms into the Fat Bastard. And then we're back to the start of the movie finally.
Yep. I know, it's exhausting, right? It's
exhausting, but nothing. It's like these other movies, there's like stuff that happens. This one, not a lot really happens.
No.
You just sort of follow a little bit of gold around, and then everything is solved by the end.
And we don't have any fun scene. Like, if your story isn't that interesting, the way to get from A to B better be fun. Just because you have a lackluster, story plot line doesn't mean you have to have a boring movie. Just they're not doing a ton, but you could have some fun. And they don't have the fun. They don't stop and say, hey, let's have a good time here. Let's make everyone enjoy the movie. They're just like, let's get through this as fast as possible.
So Fat Elvis runs away. They chase him. Jeff Bridges shoots him in the butthole with a thing that is a grappling hook. Stuff. And then he's pulled along as this thing runs up the buildings. And then eventually there's like an elevator, and Ryan Reynolds shoots the cord of the elevator somehow. And then the elevator goes 1,000 miles an hour. And then I don't know how that works.
What cord is he shooting? Because, the way that I know that gravity works.
Key to elevators in the past, I have no idea how they work now, but there's a counterweight and the elevator that are the same weight. And so then this weight goes down and the elevator goes up, and then this one goes down. I don't know.
So, but then what could he possibly shoot that would make him shoot through the roof?
I don't know. And make it go like so fast.
So fast, they're like 100. I don't get it.
Elevators have all sorts of things in there that make sure that
doesn't happen.
That it doesn't go at crazy speeds, because you don't want your elevator going at crazy speeds and
that's
literally
how people die,
shooting out the roof of the building. I thought the whole building was going to come down. I was like, Jesus, this is bad. It
probably should have.
Yeah,
this is bad.
This is very bad. And why can the monster run on the sides of buildings? Glass? I don't know,
because do other monsters do that throughout the movie?
I don't know.
Or is it just Elvis?
I guess.
I wasn't paying enough attention because I was just like, well, these monsters have no rules at all. So who gives a shit?
We go back to, did they kill Fat Elvis, or did he get away? I don't even remember.
I want to say no, because I feel like he comes back.
He must have got, no, he got away because he's in the end of the movie. So he must have got away with the gold.
That's what I thought.
So all of this is for naught. They go back, they're in trouble. Yeah. And they're like on TV, and everybody on TV is reacting like, what the hell is going on with this giant fat person running on the side of a building? So, in other words, no one in our real world has ever seen these deados in real life. This is the first time.
Right. Which is why they're in trouble, because you got to kill it on the spot. You're not allowed to let it get away. You got to murder them right on the spot.
So then we have...
But also, everyone seems fairly calm about it.
Well, no one's truly been out of shape that there's a Deado on TV in his real form.
Yeah, ostensibly, this is the first time this has happened in the history of time. And suddenly, the real world has like a peek behind the curtain, but nobody cares. Everyone's like, hey, shame. Don't let it happen again.
And the news is kind of like, this is odd.
Yeah, they're just like, well, I have nothing else to call it but a monster. Whoa. Anyhow, traffic on the 5 is bad today.
And if we look back on Men in Black, they were always cleaning up their tracks. And that was the whole specific thing about
That's why you give them a device that erases memories.
Yes, and because this is just a bunch of dumb cowboys, they can't actually do something to help a situation.
Ay.
So now we have communication with eternal affairs, which is God. And we're basically told that this thing that they're collecting is the Staff of Jericho. It was broken apart 3,000 years ago. Why didn't just melt it down since it's just gold and you're God?
Yeah.
But whatever. You should always leave all these things laying around.
Hidden. Well, because you want adventures to take place throughout time. You don't want to get bored.
And so the idea is that the dead are going to then rain down as opposed to going to be sorted in, Heaven Junior or whatever.
Right. Yep. Which I guess my question is,
yes.
So they're saying that you go up to get judged and then you get sent down. Is that how it works? So you're taking 2 trips.
That's like the pearly gates up there. Okay. No explanation as to all the other religions in the world that have nothing to do with something like Christianity, but whatever.
Well, Dan, those aren't real. Okay,
their stuff's all made up.
R.I.P.D. knows what's what.
So you guys are suspended. Okay, you're suspended because
it's just
until you decide to come back into the office and do whatever you want. You're suspended.
Do they don't they should have shouldn't they have taken the badges off their chest or something? Had like a scene where they have to turn in their badges and their gun. Like the classic cop where he slams his badge on the ground. It should have been like, oh, I'm normal.
It sure seems like if you're suspended, you just go straight up to heaven and you get judged. Right?
There you go. There you go. Problem solved.
If they take your badge off there, you're either a deado or you're heading up. Why you get
there you go.
You're suspended for X amount of time because that's we still need you. Can't they just get a new you because you screwed up?
100%. Yeah.
So Ryan goes and stalks his wife, but this time she gets it.
Yeah. What?
Closure.
Yeah. Is it?
So then, is it? Then we have the Roy and Ryan Reynolds and Jeff man to man. We find out that the Coyotes had sex with Jeff Daniels' skull. Nice image.
I did enjoy this a little bit.
That he does a Squeezebox song and says he's sorry.
Hold on, don't skate over. I mean, this is
the part you like. This is the part you like.
It's my one of 2 laughs of the whole movie.
Okay.
It's when she's like, they made love to my skull. You know what that practice is normally called? That's just like a funny joke to me.
Okay.
Because it's skull fucking. That's the answer.
Is that what it is, Tony? In case the movie didn't want to put it in black and white.
Because, it's PG-13 probably or something, so they can't tell you that, but,
So...
Why did they immediately go to a makeup scene? Because they fight in this scene, yes. And then literally we transport to the next scene, which is them sitting and him singing that song. Why are they even together? If you had a fight, you should break up and go your separate ways.
Then one of them has to track the other one down when actually something real is happening.
Right?
No, because they're the only ones that are an impetus towards moving things forward, and if they split up, they have no way to communicate. First of all, right?
Well, that's true.
Can't call each other on the. We do not have like spiritual cell phones. We have
you don't have God radio.
No, and how do they get to all these places and whatever? So we find out through exposition that there's spiritual deodorant, which is like a magic charm to keep you from being known that you're actually a deado, which
is weird new to me because they haven't really talked about the dead stench yet. Have they?
They mentioned it. They mentioned that the rot occurs, and like the one guy that they fought, that they beat up with the arm, he had that, yeah. So they find Kevin Bacon because, of course.
Why not?
Why not? So he's in his house. They go in there. He takes the metal off. The house collapses, but he lets them take him in anyways. And Ryan Reynolds knows exactly where the gold is. It's hidden in the water heater. He sent that like that was set up some other part of the movie.
Yep. There's two things that I don't understand. That's one of them in this scene. What else is he hidden in there in the past that Ryan Reynolds knows? I would have loved to seen that in the beginning when they had a relationship. Doesn't really matter. And two, can you explain to me what happens when they take the charm off? Because is it corrupting the house in real time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I thought maybe it was just like a shield, and that's what the house really looked like the whole time. I was very confused.
Oh, but that would make a lot of sense, but that's not what it is. The charms calms him down. Of course, once he leaves the house, that doesn't happen anymore. And when he walks around, it doesn't happen anymore. It's just, they thought this would be an interesting effect to try to talk about something that we have as one of our story points, and then we'll never deal with it again.
And then once we do it, we're done. Great job, everybody.
Okay. Woo. Let's see. What's happening now? So they take him in, and him being taken in is all a big scam. They just wanted to have that gold get to the other gold, and he has like a pulse bomb, which they already planted the other half of the pulse bomb, which pulse bombs everyone. Everything works exactly as their magical plan, and they're able to steal everything and run away and then start putting the gate together.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great plan. It's a really great plan. I commend Kevin Bacon on his, smarts and ingenuity. Great stuff.
In addition to that, he has his wife, Ryan Reynolds' wife, kidnapped as the necessary blood sacrifice for the whole process.
Obviously, as you would. And I love the exposition of that is done so deftly that you hardly even notice that it's there.
So then they open the vehicle, and then the good guys stop the vehicle. I mean, they open the portal, and then the good guys stop the portal, and that's pretty much the movie.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, there's like a lot of a fairly drawn out battle sequence where nothing really happens.
Parking garage falls over.
Yeah,
and over,
which is a great thing. Did you see Fast and the Furious?
And over.
I think it's Fate of the Furious. They do a similar action sequence where self-driving cars are driving over the edge of a parking thing.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is a very similar scene, only the Fast and Furious did it like really cool. And this one did not.
It's nothing cool. It's your classic, this thing is falling and there's infinite debris, and somehow they're maneuvering a car to avoid everything.
Yeah, they're very good. You got to, I mean, it's hard because you got to keep one eye on the road and one eye on the falling sky, but I could probably do it.
And of course, they get to the rooftop and they go bang, 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 shoot everybody.
Yeah.
And then they run out of bullets for Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, well, in their defense, they did a lot of shooting before that.
Wouldn't want to put an extra 6 bullets in your pockets because you're going to the apocalypse. No.
I mean, you got a lot of bullets in your gun, so you're probably fine. Don't worry about it.
And then Jeff Bridges' character lassos a truck that's stuck into a building and then pulls that down, and that runs into the thing, and the gateway is closed. And then they shoot. I think they shoot.
Well, hold on. We got to talk
Kevin
about
Bacon. How do they kill Kevin Bacon? I don't even remember.
Yeah. I don't even remember. All I remember is the wife gets stabbed at some point.
Well, she was stabbed early
supposedly.
on. And their blood sacrifice is laying there going like, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead. You're like, wait, sacrifice.
Why did we see her get stabbed? I didn't understand that she got stabbed.
Yeah, they kind of showed it because the blood appeared inside the thing.
I guess. I don't know. I was just like, she was laying on the ground and I kept asking my wife, I was like, what happened to her? Is she dead? I don't understand what's happening. I don't know.
It was just dumb. It was just dumb.
Yeah, it was
because they didn't kill her. And of course, the end of the movie is she lives.
And it was a choice?
No.
Doesn't that make her a deado? Because she was in the in-between. She was in the frozen time.
Well, was she?
She was dead. Yeah, because like the water is frozen and everything's frozen because Ryan's looking around. He's like, oh, shit. Hey, you can't stay here. As if it's a choice. The only other time we've seen this frozen world is when Ryan Reynolds is most definitely dead because he was shot in the face, quote unquote. So I was just, the rules don't make any sense. She can just then wake up. He's like, hey, don't stay here. She's like, okay, cool. I'm going to go back to living.
The doctor saved her. So she decides the doctor save her. Then, so that's that. And then, so she lives. Mary Louise Parker gets, what's his name, a new hat. Then she bites him on the beard, and he says
this is my other laugh.
Billy goated.
She Billy goated me. Hilarious. However, there's a caveat. The next line ruins their own joke.
What does he say?
Because she bites him, and Ryan Reynolds is like, what happened? He's like, she Billy goated me. It's a thing we used to do. Don't explain it to me. Just leave it as the fact that, one, Billy goating people is a thing. I love that. And two, that it was like just like a fun random thing. She Billy goated me. Anyhow, let's move on. Why explain? I don't know, but I did laugh.
And so then he's gotten Ryan Reynolds a new thing, so he doesn't have to be the Asian man. He's a redheaded Girl Scout who's like 9 years old, which is insane, which would never work because you can't go anywhere a cop goes, and people would be freaking out.
She shouldn't even be driving the car. She's driving the car. She should be pulled over immediately.
But it's a joke. We did it for the joke. We made it.
It's not a joke. It's just stupid.
So that's the movie. Why is this movie so terrible? I will say this, because they have a series of running jokes that don't work. They have characters that don't have chemistry. They have a setup that doesn't make any sense. They have characters. Their two characters are impervious to everything.
Correct. You might have noticed we're pretty durable, is something that he says.
So you have two main characters who literally cannot ever be stopped by anything. You drop a car on them, means nothing.
As a joke. You drop a car on them as a joke. It's not even like, hey, we're putting you in danger. It's just like, look at this guy got smashed by a car. Hilarious.
You cannot have characters that are impervious to everything. It doesn't
There's no danger.
Work. You don't care.
That's why Superman is so hard to do well.
That's why he's
you can do it well with the humanity. Battling. Oh, you don't think you can do it well, can you?
No, I mean, I don't think any movie has ever done it well.
Did you watch Smallville? Because they did it well.
No.
It's so the way to do Superman.
But was he really Superman in Smallville? He could fly through the sun? Oh, not through. Yeah.
He's Clark Kent. He's not yet. So he hasn't taken the mantle of Superman. But spoiler alert: the series finale, he puts on the cape. It's beautiful. I cried.
No, but wait a second. Can I shoot him and the bullet will bounce off of him?
Correct.
He can fly
for 95% of the show. No, not until the series finale.
That's what I'm saying. He can't fly.
Correct.
He's not Superman.
Okay, Dan.
That's not Superman. If you can't fly, live in space, immune to everything, you're not Superman. That's Superman.
Well, he is immune to everything. Well, almost everything. Listen, we'll do a whole podcast on Smallville later. But so the way to do Superman, in my opinion, is to use his humanity against him. It's not a physical weakness. It's an emotional weakness. And that's the only way to do it right.
Yeah, they don't do that.
And Man of Steel does not get it right.
None of those stupid movies do.
I hate Snyder. Ruined everything.
Stupid. So yeah, that's my take on this thing. Is it doesn't work because these characters are basically overpowered, and
for sure.
There's they're trying to stop a thing that is just so incredibly arbitrary. At no point do you think, oh, they're going to fail and all of the dead are going to rain down and Earth is going to be destroyed. You don't ever believe that. Because the jeopardy, and that's my huge problem with all of these kind of movies, is the jeopardy is so huge. You better make the battle really interesting, because if the jeopardy is that huge, there better be, even in the Avengers movie, the battle is versus Thanos for the most part. That other battle, the battle versus all the bad things, is one thing where everybody dies, but they all die. Their characters dying, right?
100%.
Death. You're just like, everybody's dying.
Pretty great.
In this thing, we're immune to everything. We're not going to die. The wife, we know she's not. I mean, think about Deadpool with the wife up there. You don't know what's going to happen with her.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Well, I mean, listen, I didn't know the wife was going to come back to life. So there you go.
Of course she was. Because then you would actually be setting up something interesting where she's a deado or she goes to heaven.
Yes.
You're actually setting up a conflict.
She should be a deado and he should have to protect her. There's your sequel. Moving on.
Yeah, but that would be terrible because it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't want to see a sequel of this movie. So.
No one did.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Talk about the comic books. How'd they get it wrong?
Okay, so first of all, I will say comics also not great. So I don't know who read that comic and was like, we need to adapt this into a feature film. It's going to be great.
There was a point at which all of the studios were fighting over any comic that seemed like it was viable to be turned into anything, and they paid these. I talked to somebody at one point, and every year they would re-up his option.
Oh, really?
And give him a bunch of monies. Just so they could have it.
Comics.
Yes, you should. Well, you should have written them 10 years ago.
Well, I can't write them now. I definitely couldn't write them 10 years ago. Sheesh, Dan.
And that's the whole
anyhow,
thing. Yeah.
So the comics, the big difference is that I think really ruined the movie as opposed to the comic source material. One, Jeff Bridges doesn't have isn't like, I don't want a partner because my partner stabbed me in the back. That whole storyline for his character didn't work for me in the movie. It's not in the book. It's stupid. They do not change their appearance in the comic book. They're just themselves back on Earth. It's not like this weird, they get hidden identities.
Oh, really?
The movie did that, and it's so dumb. And I was shocked that wasn't in the comics, because I don't know who decided that, but it was terrible.
If that wasn't in the comics, where would you have come up with that? It's so weird.
I have no idea. Such a bad decision. Also, and this is like a small thing, they don't call them deados in the comics. Yeah. Thank God, because that's stupid. And the last big difference to me is the mystery. You don't know who killed him in the comic book. The first set of comic books is all about him finding out that his partner killed him, and then why.
You mean there's actually a mystery to it?
A little bit, yeah.
It's not
pretty great stuff, huh?
Everyone doesn't just know exactly what's happening at all moments.
Yeah. So those are kind of the big differences. The comic book it's drawn very cartoony, which I think led to why the CGI in the movie is very cartoony. I don't know. No,
the CGI in that is cartoony, and it is the way it is because the production designer decided on that. It has nothing to do with the comic book. They don't look at the comics when it comes to that kind of stuff.
In conclusion, neither are great, but the comics are still better.
Wow. Whew. Oh my God. Anything else to pound on this movie with?
Just as a general note,
yeah,
don't hire Ryan Reynolds to be your straight man versus a Jeff Bridges character.
I don't think anyone's ever going to have the ability to do that again.
Well, I mean, that's
because
true.
I think he's going to be right there at the top, and everyone else is going to be below him, and he's going to be making all the decisions about everything.
Which is great, because I tend to like it when he does.
The Deadpool movie is a perfect movie.
Yeah. Oh, God. So good.
That's a movie you just turn on at any point, and you're just, this is great. deals with everything perfectly, and these are good characters, and everyone else copies that. Will be copying that movie forever and getting it wrong forever.
And we'll be able to do podcasts about those movies forever.
So now's the point at which we talk about something that we liked this week, and the thing I like is this show called Taskmaster. You ever heard of that show?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
It's a British show. I think they're on their like 10th season, but there's 7 seasons online.
Oh.
The first season, 7 seasons plus a All-Stars season, and they start 5 episodes. Then the seasons are 8 episodes, and what it is, it's an hour show, but there's no commercials, so it's great. They have 5 comedians who they set to do these tasks. So the tasks will be like, take these 3 yoga balls to the top of that hill, and then put them on a yoga mat, and then put them on the yoga mat that's on top of that hill.
Okay.
And then the person has to like do these things, and then they time them. But every one of the things, there's usually like a little wiggle room. So like you can ask somebody standing there to take one of the balls with you. One of the guys just walked up on top of the hill, picked up the yoga mat, walked down the hill,
brought it down,
put the balls on it on the bottom. You know, some of the people took them up there and then set them there. Then the wind blew them off.
Oh no!
It rolled all the way down. And so and then they do like other ones where you have to like paint a portrait of somebody with mustard and ketchup on a wall. So they just do all these. Some of them are creative, some of them are just like really stupid, and some of them are, they're all very silly. And you watch all these people go through all these motions because they're under a clock or whatever, and they either just act or they don't. Some people are very calm, but some people are just like, another great one was they gave you a frozen pea, and then there's this red carpet outside, and they're like, propel the pea as far as you can, and then have it land on the carpet. And it's on grass. And so like one of the guys throws it and it just lands in the grass. And it's a pea in grass.
You can't see that.
You can't see that. You got like 20 minutes and you can't find he's like, can I have another pea? He's like, no, that was your pea.
That's it. That's
it.
The last one.
And so it's just great. And they made a U.S. version, and the U.S. version was garbage because U.S. people don't know how to look at a show and see what's good about this. They hire like terrible comedians to do it, and the comedians just yell at people and are stupid.
That sounds exactly like America. Where can I watch this?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube?
Yeah, okay. It's on YouTube. I would just start with series 1, episode 1, and if you like it, because we just started streaming, so we can watch things on the big computer now. We're streamers. We're like, yes.
Attaboy. Welcome to 1999, Dan.
I looked it up. We figured it out. We bought the Fire Stick, and then Shannon's like, "Oh, this doesn't work. We need to have a Wii to get on the internet." I'm like, "That's what that thing does. Is somehow connect to the internet." She's like, "No." I'm like, "I don't believe that. I believe that there must be some way that communicates with the internet." We figured it out.
I'm so proud of you, Dan. You guys are doing great work.
We're adulting all the time. So what do you got for us, Tony?
So mine is just a throwback comfort food type of deal because I love I love Ryan Reynolds. I love him. And so this movie made me sad. So I was like, you know what? I need to watch a good Ryan Reynolds movie. And it just happens to be Christmas time for us while we're recording this. So we watched Just Friends last night to remind myself how good Ryan Reynolds is. What are you mumbling?
Green Lantern.
Oh, Green Lantern.
Oh, you didn't watch Green Lantern?
No.
What's Just Friends? Which one is that?
Just Friends is the Christmas movie he did with Anna Faris and
is he the assistant?
Amy Smart.
Is he the assistant?
No, he plays like a record manager, probably.
And they go back to the town or something?
Yeah. He goes home and he meets his high school crush. He used to be fat. It's very funny. It's great. It's a great movie. It's great Christmas movie. I love it, and it just it really hit the spot after this train wreck of a Ryan Reynolds
You're
movie.
kind of like, this movie wasn't that bad because it had Ryan Reynolds in it, but you're just like, you give it a lot of pass because of being Ryan Reynolds being there, but it's still not good.
And it's not Ryan being Ryan. I needed some Rio Reynolds.
When does that Free Guy come out?
I don't know. I feel like I've been seeing trailers for that for like a year.
Yeah. I mean,
that could be crazy.
I'm sure COVID messed it all up. So, continuing Schlockbusters, we're going to head back to 2013 again.
Oh, wow. Twofer.
So, what do you do when you're one of the biggest directors and you head one of the biggest franchises in the world?
I make more movies in that franchise?
But you also try to make a new franchise that will spread out across the land, that digs into other franchises. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
You're a big-time director, Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer, he did X-Men, right?
Yeah, he did all the he directed.
Yeah, great.
He directed the first 2 or 3, and then controlled the other ones. Well, he decided to branch out in 2013 and make a little movie I like to call Jack the Giant Slayer.
Oh boy. Okay. Good. I did not see this.
No one did. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Lots of people did. $97 million at the box office this movie made.
Not bad.
Unfortunately, or maybe more. Unfortunately, they had to. I think the budget and money was $250 or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
So
golly,
I think
guys.
they were trying to, reinvent Lord of the Rings, reinvent Game of Thrones, Jack the Giant Slayer from the fairy tale.
Who plays Jack? I feel like it's someone famous.
I have no idea.
All right.
I didn't look.
It's somebody good. I don't remember. I haven't seen this movie. A trailer for it in years.
Taylor Kitsch.
No, listen, that poor guy, he's getting a bad go of things. It's not his fault.
Isn't it? Isn't it his fault? Are you looking up Jack the Giant Slayer?
I am looking it up, and I guess I was wrong. Who's Nicholas Hoult? That's who plays Jack. So that's not a good look already, guys.
The thing you gotta always remember: who was the guy that was in Clash of the Titans and Avatar and like a third movie? He was in like 3 movies. Sam Jackson. It's
definitely not Sam Jackson,
but it's something like that. Sam Worthington.
Worthington. Yes, you did it.
That dude was like in 3 of the hugest blockbusters of all time, like within 2 years.
My thing is, they all had success in spite of him.
Lucky to get on one of those, DC friend. He's in the Birds of Prey movie playing her driver. How's it going, ma'am?
That's cool. That was good. You should have been hired.
I should have been. God damn it. So, Jack the Giant Slayer, as we continue our month of Schlockbusters, Tony's going to pick us something really good. Maybe even
I'm ready.
Green Lantern.
Nope. I can't do 2 bad Ryan Reynolds movies.
It's like Tony has a breakdown because he had to watch 2 bad Ryan Reynolds movies in a month.
It'll make me cry.
It would make you cry. Okay, so thank you all. If you like this show, subscribe, tell a friend, hire a friend to come watch the show with you or listen on the podcast because Tony does all these links, or maybe he still doesn't do them. Maybe he stopped doing them because he's still doing them.
It's hard to be sure. No, yeah, I'm still doing them.
And Tony has his own thing about a guy that knifes people, so go watch that. What's that called? Promo it.
Oh, that is called Killer Quarantine. And it's just a really stupid little web series that I do by myself in quarantine because no one will play with me.
Nobody. Tony plays all the roles. He's like the Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison. Big Mama's House. Big Tony's
Yeah, so
house.
if you watch this show and you're like, man, I wish there was less Dan and more Tony, then this is the show for you.
Like three or four Tonys, or maybe 5 or 6 Tonys, and maybe one of them dressed as a
I'm going
turkey.
big for Christmas. Don't worry.
Really?
There's going to be there's a big cast for Christmas.
Are you going to play some of your relatives at some point?
Listen, I'm not giving any spoilers, although this is going to come out way after that's already out.
So it already happened, and now you're here, and now you're hearing about it happening.
It's and like you can be one of my, 8 views on YouTube if you're lucky.
Well, you could be one of the 4 views of this on YouTube if you're lucky. So we're signing out on Dan the Chippy Tooth.
Listen, kids, brush your teeth before you go to bed every night.
And your teeth will still fall out.
Because your body doesn't give a shit what you do. And that's the moral. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, watch it!